Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday, as Lisa would say. We are excited to be back. Lisa is still out. She'll be out for 2 more solid weeks. So keep her in your thoughts and prayers. I am doing a viewer request today. As I was thinking about what project to do, lots of them came to mind. I even went over and picked up a drill bit from my son yesterday, and my husband cut some wood and put some holes in it for me, but I'm gonna save that project. Um, I decided to do yo-yos. I've had more than one person ask because I've made yo-yos in the past, not on air. I've had them finished. And if you don't know, yo-yos are just little pieces of fabric that are cut into a circle and stitched all around, and they make these cute little embellishments. You can add a button in the center. You can add, I think this one I have threads. That one just has a little rhinestone in the center. Hi Brenda, you can use these for a bunch of different things. Like I make these a lot I used to make them for my daughters and now my granddaughters for hair clips. You can put them on headbands. You can put them on journals. You can sew them all together and I'll show you. You can make a beautiful quilt. This quilt I made, oh my goodness. I want to say I made this about 30 years ago. Maybe 25. But you can make quilts, you can make pillows. There's all sorts of things you can do with these. And hi Kathleen. And so I'm going to show you how to create them. I'm going to show you 2 ways. I'm going to show you a way where you don't need to buy any tools, and a way some people might prefer with a tool. And you guys can decide which way you like it better. But they are quick and easy to make, and I make these. I have a ton here. I make these when we're going on long trips. I will bring my sewing and I will just sit and stitch and make these because I like doing something when we're driving. I usually don't do the driving, but I like to be able to do something. Putting them on journals, which is a great option. You just need to determine your size, and you can make them in all sizes. It all depends upon the size of your circle. So I'm going to put the camera down, and I'll show you guys the quilt I made again in just a bit for those of you that are just coming in. And it seems a little dark. Going to try to adjust this light a little bit. I turn my overhead light off all the time, thinking because it glares really bad, so I have other lights on. And I'm going to try to watch for the comments at the same time. Hi, Rebecca. I'm going to try to watch for the comments at the same time. So here I have a bunch of squares. So these squares could be used to create a quilt or whatever you want, but I'm going to use them for yo-yos. And I'm going to show you the way that I use them when I created this quilt. Okay, that's the way I'm going to show you first, because I still have, this is actually the top of an old coffee pot that we had many years ago. Well, maybe when we first got married, and it didn't work anymore. And this is what I use for my template. The thing you want to do when you're making yo-yos, if you're making a pillow or something, hi Gina, is to get all of them the same size. That's the most important thing, is to have them consistency in size. And if you do like a small plate, it's going to be and it's bigger than this. Let me get my ruler out. And this is about 3 3/4 of an inch. So if you went with a plate that was 5 inches, it's going to make a bigger yo-yo. And if you went with a tinier item, it's going to be smaller. So what I do is I put this on my fabric, and you can have like a disappearing marker. You can have color pencils that disappear. I'm going to use a pencil today because I think it's going to show up the best for you. And it's not going to hurt my yo-yo at all. I'm going to turn this as I go so my arm, it doesn't get in the way. And you just go around this so you have your pattern. And there, you can see that pencil line. So what I do from here is I cut some of this excess away, not all of it. I leave about 1/4 of an inch, and it doesn't have to be perfect at all, right? You're just making it so that there's less to turn under. You don't want this big piece of fabric inside there. So I'm just trimming away that excess. So this is what you have left. And I'm going to show you, of course, I'm going to show you what I do with the excess, because, I don't ever like to waste anything. And I use a thimble when I hand sew. And I've never been able to find another thimble like this. I have had this thimble since I was 18 years old. And I worked for a furrier, and it's what we used when we worked on fur coats, because we used it like this. I have found thimbles that are close to the same thing, but not the same. So I have held on to this for dear life all these years. So then you're going to take and thread your needle. I do a single strand. You can do double if you want. I'm left-handed, so if you're right-handed, you'd be going in the opposite way. I don't use pins, and I just fold it right on that line to get started. I have my thread knotted, and I just take a stitch. Now, my stitches are never like perfectly even. Sometimes I will take and do a few together and pull that through. So it doesn't have to be perfect. What you're doing is you are doing a running stitch. And I have about, let me see if I can get that in there, if you can see that. I don't know if you can see it with my thread, but it is about 1/8 to not even 1/4, a scant 1/4 inch allowance between where the circle is and where I'm stitching. And this is a great project to do if, like, I do it on road trips, like I said, and if you're sitting at night watching TV. It's just something relaxing that really doesn't take a lot of concentration once you get started. You can just sit and work on these as you want, and before you know it, you have got dozens and dozens of yo-yos. They don't take that long to make. I never seen one with the top open. Yeah, Brenda, I got this, like I said, when I was 18 years old and worked for a fur finisher. It was called Fur Finisher's Thimble. And I have never, ever been able to find another one. I have lost it at times within my house, but I always find it. And now I keep it in a specific place, so I always know where it is. Once you've lost it a few times, you need to make sure you know where it is all the time. I took this off when we were on our drive to Texas this winter, and I took my needle and thread and my thimble and I put them in the little cubby on the door. And we stopped at a gas station. And when we left, I was like, oh my gosh, where's my thimble? So you want to always put it in a safe place if you have something that you really like a lot. So I'm not going to bore you with sewing the entire thing, but you stitch that all the way around. And this one I have all stitched. And when I do this, I try and do enough thread so I can do 2 or 3 of them so that I'm not constantly threading my needle. But once you come, here's where my knot is, right here. And here's where the end of my thread is. You come in and you start to gather it like this. And I don't yank on it because this is just cotton thread. It's not, and I have one strand, so it's not super thick. So I do it partway around, and then I take my knotted side and I'll come around on the other side. You don't have to, you can go around the entire thing, but I like to have, unless I leave a big tail on the end of my knot, I like to be able to tie these together and to close it up. So I should have used a different color thread so you guys could have really seen this, but maybe you can see it well enough. So you just pull these, and once it's almost all gathered, then I start pulling on each side and pull these, and see, it automatically makes a little tiny yo-yo. Now I want that just a little bit tighter, so I'm going to pull a little bit more, and you can move these gathers with your fingers to get it tighter, like that. And then I'm going to come back in. I'm going to tie a knot first. And I'll do a double or triple knot because I don't want this to come loose, right? But to be sure, I always come back in with my needle and I go in where my stitches are and I come out not directly across, but a little ways across. So I'm closing up that hole even more. Trying to get my loose tail out of the way. So but I pull it because that way it closes it even more. And I'll do that a few times. And I just go into exactly where I gathered it. See how it's closing up? You can see, like, there it is open and then there it is closed. But you don't have to do this step. I just like them a little more closed than open. And it would be totally your preference. But I do it all the way around until I come back to this tail that's loose. Because then I can knot it again. Tell me in the comments if any of you have ever made yo-yos. and if so, what you did with them. So now I take and I knot this again. So if I'm in the car and I'm driving, I will knot this again, but I won't do the next step until maybe I have a bunch of them done, so I can just keep going. But I knot this again, and you can put a little tiny fray check or Dritz glue, something on there to prevent those from unraveling. And then I'll take this thread one more time and I'll come across. It just gives me that reassurance. And then I'll trim this and I'll leave a little bit of a tail on it. And I will tie these up again and put a little more glue. And then I tuck the threads to the inside so you don't see them at all. And it doesn't matter what color thread you use. I use white or black on almost all of it because I buy white and black thread in bulk. But you don't see the thread. So you don't need a tan thread for this one and a blue thread for this one. But I use white or black depending upon the fabric. And even this one, I used a white and I haven't tucked these tails in yet. But what I do is, let me see if I got a tool here. Like I'll take a little tool and I will just tuck those down to the inside. I don't ever want to cut them too small. If it came undone, I like having that length so I could fix it. But I just tuck them down to the inside. This one is not wanting to let me do that. Let me put my glasses on so I can put my glasses on and maybe actually see. There we go. I tuck them so that they're down on the inside. And this one I'm going to have to work on just a little bit and push it so it's out of the way. Every time I push it, because I'm live, it is like not wanting to. So there. So you just push it so it's out of the way. And then you have your yo-yos. Now, this is, like I said, this is the way I have done it forever. And it is the way I did it when I made that quilt right there. So that quilt I actually made for my mother-in-law. Like I said, 25 or 30 years ago. It's been a long time. And when she passed away, I got it back. So that sits, and I got it back. She never wanted to have anything happen to it, I think. So she always kept it tucked away, protected. So when I got it, it was like brand new. And I have it on this day bed in my sewing room. So it comes off when I have grandkids or guests over, and that bed pulls out. But it goes perfectly in that room because that room, the color of that room is yellow. Brenda, I've made them years ago, made angel ornaments where her dress used different size yo-yos, smaller at the neck and bigger to make the dress. That's a great idea. And I've also seen the Christmas trees done like that. I love that idea. So there's a lot you can do with them. You don't have to make hundreds and hundreds of them, although it does look nice when you do, as you can see by the quilt. So, but this is the way I did that quilt. Now, there are tools out there like this. This is from Clover. And I think it comes in 3 different sizes. I think this is the medium size. And this one, so this is the one I just finished with my coffee pot lid, right? And it was 3 7/8 of an inch, and it made a yo-yo that is about 1 7/8. So almost half the size of what your original circle is. This yo-yo tool is 3 1/4 inches, and it makes yo-yos that are 1 1/4. So they come in all sizes, but this is, I think this is the medium one. I think they have a smaller one, and they do have a larger one. So to do this, it comes apart, and you can see all of the notches, and you can see right here, this is open, closed, open, closed. So you would take a piece of fabric and you would take and put your fabric with the right side down on top of this. And you take this piece, and there are lines on here. You can see those raised edge lines. And right here, there are notches. So you want to line the notch up with the line. So you put this down, and when I have big fabric like this and I don't want to waste, I mean, I don't want to put it in the center and cut all that away. I'll put it off to the side, leaving just a little bit. And then I put this in, and I'm going to turn it so that that line matches up with the notch. You'll know if it doesn't match up because your thread will not go in and out. So it's easy to find out that doesn't match. And then you just snap that in. And then again, I come in and I cut this excess away. So because you don't want all of this, like I said, folded on the inside of your yo-yo. And again, I will show you what I do with the bigger pieces. So I put my thimble on again. If you've never used a thimble, go for it. I had never used a thimble. I went to school for fashion design, and I have been sewing since I was 5 years old. I had never used a thimble until I worked for the fur finishers. And after years of doing that, you get used to it. So it's just becomes natural. So on here, you're going to want to come down, and you're going to want to come through one of these holes. So you take and you put this through, and it will come out the other end. And you'll know if you're right if your needle comes out and you're on an open space. Okay, so if you're on an open space, you know you have that right. And you just pull, and then you come up through that space and into the fabric. And for this, all of the stitches are very uniform, unlike the way I showed you the first time. And so the gathers are perfect every time. So you just go down and you come back up. If you make a mistake, you will know it because it will not come off. Like if you made a mistake, and here I'm going to purposely skip and make a mistake, okay? So like if you make a mistake, so you go down and you come up I'm not always looking at the back. Once you get into the rhythm, you can just go down and up, down and up. But if you make a mistake, you'll know it because it's attached. It ends up and it's attached and it won't come off. So using this tool, you'll know when you make a mistake, but you finish it in the same way as you do with just drawing your circle. You can use, like, not everybody has an old coffee pot lid. You can use like packing tape or painter's tape. You can use the inside of it because if you're using the tape, it would get smaller, but you could use the inside dimensions of that. So you can do happy yo-yo day early. Yes, Bobby. So you can use the inside of that. You can use a spool of ribbon. You can use anything round in a size that you like. So that's how easy it is to make yo-yos. And before I show you how to put them together, this is the pieces that I cut away, right? So, I mean, I think my husband thinks I'm nuts sometimes, but I'm in the car. I'm in the car doing this. I'll take and cut that and I'll tear this away. If it doesn't tear all the way, it's because this is too small, but then I will take and cut that, and then I will pull and fringe it a little bit. So like if you pull thread from your fabric, it fringes it. And you get this lovely fringe, and I'll do it all the way around. And you end up with all of these lovely little pieces that you can use to make little snippets. Like you can layer them with lace. I'll do this for a project sometime, but you can layer these up with pieces of lace, pieces of ribbon. You can put a button on top. You can do whatever you want, but these little things are great for on tags and presents. And so I will save all these. I think I should save all of the little thread too sometimes, but I don't. But yeah, I'll just cut those up for usable pieces and then I throw stuff away. So, I mean, I don't save everything, but I do save a lot. So once you have your yo-yos done, this is one of the ones we did. I think I have, okay, so you would take, if you wanted to make a pillow or if you wanted to start a quilt, you would take your yo-yo and you would put them right sides together where the holes are. And you would just take a couple stitches and whip stitch that. Just a couple. And whip stitch that so it was together like this. So you would do rows. And for this next quilt I'm working on, so I did 3 rows like this, and I whip stitched these together, and then I put 3 white on and 3 white this way. These need to be fluffed, but I put those together, and then you would take and add another one on. So you are creating, I'm going to pull my camera up so you guys can see me. It might be easier. Okay, so you would take and put those together, and then you would just keep sewing them all together. And you would just add your rows as you do them. Let me take this one. So you would just keep adding your rows until it's big enough. And if you're going to use it and make, I had my glasses on. If you're going to use it and make a pillow, you would only need about 4 of these, depending upon the size of your yo-yo. And then you would have to have a pillow that's lined because you have all of that openness, but it makes a great pillow front. But again, it makes great crafts and decorations, and they're quick and easy to use. If any of you make them, I'd love to see them in our group. Do you love to craft? And I know I didn't say it at the beginning, but if you like, share, and comment on this video, you will be entered for our giveaway, and it will be announced next week. So I want to remind you all that tonight, Tiffany and I are again doing the Cool to Craft pajama party at 9 p.m. Central Time. And we each have a project ready, and we have a guest who is doing a project. And after that, we are doing a whatnot auction. So make sure you check those out. And I will post links for that on the Bella Crafts Publishing page for you guys to make it easy. And also last week's winner was Helen Buckley. I don't see Helen in here right now, but Helen, you have won a door prize from last week, and it is a set of Juliana's buttons and some cork fabric. So that I will put, just message me with your address. I missed how big the circle needs to be. Bobby, you can do circles in various sizes. Like, I have used this coffee pot lid forever, and this is 3 3/4, and it makes a yo-yo that ends up being, where's the one I just did? That ends up being, I'm trying to find the one I just completed. Oh, there it is. It will end up being about 1 7/8, so about half. So this, if the tool, this tool is 3 and not quite a half, and it makes yo-yos that are about 1 1/2. So just depending upon what size your circle is, it'll be about half of that. I gave up because it was frustrating. I'll have to give it another chance. Yeah, it's just, once you get started, it's just slow and easy, and just enjoy it. I mean, because it's really something you can do without having to concentrate too much, and you just stitch them up, tie them off, make sure you add a little bit of glue to that knot, washable glue like Fraycheck or Dritz has one for the ends, just to prevent the knot from coming out. But yeah, it's fun and easy. So yeah, I'd love to see what you make, Bobby. And yeah, Helen's not here. Oh, you are here, Helen. Helen, send me a message with your mailing address, your shipping address, so I can get that prize off to you. I had got all of Bellacon's packages out of here and all of the whatnot auctions out of here. It was such a relief. My craft room is clean again. My local quick shop is having a yo-yo bash on Friday with demonstrations. Fun. Fun. Oh, your local quilt shop. I was wondering, quick shop. I was going to ask what it was. Good. Yeah, go to that because they are fun to make and easy, and you can use them in so many things, So, well, that's all I have for today. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate every time you come. And make sure you join our group, Do You Love to Craft? And you can put pictures of your yo-yo projects in there. We would love to see them. And until next time,